Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk for the heavyweight undisputed title in the world. That's what we have on Saturday afternoon, and Brian Fonseca joins us for a second consecutive segment to preview this huge, and literally with the stature of both individuals and in its significance, boxing bout tomorrow. Fonseca, we appreciate you being here for a second consecutive segment. As you shared with us during the commercial break, maybe not the staunchest of boxing fans, myself can't speak for Donnie Rightside, the winner of tomorrow's fight will be the first undisputed heavyweight champion of the world since Lennox Lewis in 2000. It is a monumental fight on Saturday afternoon. How do you explain all of the hype and the excitement for Fury versus Usyk?
Yeah, this one is legitimately, and as somebody who covers boxing and loves it as an art form, even though politically there's a lot that goes on there, this is one of those fights that actually is warranting reaching the masses. It's a legitimate 50-50 high-profile fight because betting odds are all over the place in terms of who's the favorite. There was a time this week where one prominent sportsbook had Tyson Fury listed at minus 120, and the other had Tyson Fury listed at minus 108. Minus 108, he was a slight dog because Usyk was minus 114, and the one where he was a favorite, Usyk, was plus 100. So this is where it's been like all over the place with this fight. And this is also something that's been a couple years in the making because there's been back and forth. When is this fight going to take place? And we finally had a date. It was December. And in October, Tyson Fury decided to fight Francis Ngannou and didn't take the fight seriously at all. I don't care what people have to say, particularly diehard MMA fans who want to give Francis Ngannou a lot of credit, and he deserves some. But Tyson Fury visibly showed up overweight for that fight, like more than usual. Didn't train properly, it looked like. He didn't have his win completely, and he just put on an embarrassing performance. And then the fight with Usyk got pushed back to February, and then there was an injury, so it got pushed back again to May. Now we're finally here. We're finally getting it. And I can't wait because we don't get a lot of high-profile 50-50 fights like this over the course of a year.
No, Brian, it's a great point you bring up, too, because usually the fights we're talking about is, can somebody pull an upset here? What does this guy need to do to be an underdog to win this fight? And you're looking at roughly a pick'em, which is awesome. And you take a look at the records. Tyson Fury, 34-0-1. You take a look at Usyk here. He actually hasn't had a loss either at 21-0. So, as I say, the O has got to go for one of these boxers. Coming into the fight, what's the matchup like, and what can we anticipate from the styles of these two fighters?
So if Oleksandr Usyk is going to win this fight, he needs to do it based on volume. For people who don't know, he's a former undisputed cruiserweight champion. The cruiserweight weight limit of boxing is 200 pounds. He was, an Olympian, all those different things. One of the most decorated amateur boxers we've had over the last, I don't know, however many years at this point, because he had around 350 amateur fights and won most of them. Like he's really that good. And it took him a while to become a pro boxer. He's sneaky up there in age, as is Tyson Fury, both in their mid-30s. But he needs to do it based on volume because he is going to be outsized a lot in this match. And he's also a southpaw, which is going to give Tyson Fury an interesting look. Tyson Fury is 6'9" with a 7'1" reach. Oleksandr Usyk is approximately 6'3" with a reach that's about 65 inches, or rather 6'5" reach. And with Tyson Fury, he's somebody who can win this fight if he finds his range early, sort of manages his distance, and makes it difficult for Oleksandr Usyk to close in on him and also hit him to the body, because there's a rap out there that Oleksandr Usyk, his punch resistance to the body isn't great. There was a controversy from his last fight last summer where Danny Dubois apparently, seemed to low blow him, although if you look closely, it may have been a body shot that actually floored Oleksandr Usyk. So Tyson Fury will likely try to test him there. It's just easier to get to, hey, Tyson Fury wins this fight because he's bigger. He's also very fast because he's 6'9", 71-inch reach. Is probably going to weigh in 250-something, 60-something, maybe 270-something, and moves like a welterweight because he's that good. But Oleksandr Usyk is also that good. Like, these are legitimately the two best heavyweights in the world. And again, we don't get fights like this very often.
The odds certainly stack up for this heavyweight bout. As we showed, it is a virtual pick'em. Tyson Fury, just a slight favorite, the Gypsy King. For this to go the distance, that's the favored number as well at minus 215. Expected to live up to the billing and match those sky-high expectations. So Let's get Brian Fonseca's official fight prediction. If you only had one wager, Brian, what would it be on this bout between Fury and Usyk?
What I took earlier this week was Tyson Fury by decision at plus 220 in one prominent sportsbook. And actually, it was FanDuel. I could say that because I see their logo right here. They're sponsoring this program. So it was on FanDuel, so I could say that. But yes, it was plus 220 by decision. I don't think there's going to be a knockout in this fight, although it's heavyweight boxing. So, like, that wouldn't surprise me totally. It's just not something I would bet on. Tyson Fury's been dropped 7 different times in his career, 4 of them by Deontay Wilder, who's the hardest punching heavyweight probably of my lifetime, as somebody who wasn't old enough for the entire Mike Tyson experience. I think he was in jail when I was born. And I think as it relates to this fight, Oleksandr Usyk, he's not somebody who's been dropped either, unless you count the Danny Dubois sort of knockdown, air quotes, from last year. But I think both of these guys are going to make it 12 rounds. Like, that's something that I would bet on. And to me, Tyson Fury is going to get the decision because that's been my knee-jerk reaction just in this entire process. I feel like he's just better when he's focused. He wasn't focused for Francis Ngannou, didn't need to be focused that much for Derek Chisora, knocked out Dillian White, who's not as good as Oleksandr Usyk. And I expect him to turn it up in this fight and actually be the Tyson Fury that we know.
On that graphic, we listed it with a question mark. Fight of the century. It is a bout between Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk to decide the first undisputed heavyweight champion of the world since Lennox Lewis in the year 2000. This would be a new century after 2000, a new millennium, if you want to categorize it as such. Brian Fonseca, we appreciate the time on this Friday morning, first in the NBA playoffs, and then for the heavyweight bout tomorrow afternoon on a Saturday as well. Thank you, and have a wonderful weekend.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.